Hello everybody, this is N.M.P.D here, and today I feel like talking about this specific month now. You know, times have most certainly changed. People are now celebrating men's mental health and putting pride aside, which is a good thing because men's mental health is important. And these days, especially nowadays, they don't really tend to take men's mental health seriously, and they more so just treat it like it's not a big deal, or some kind of sick, twisted joke. It's honestly pretty messed up, but I'm glad now that it's finally getting some kind of awareness. But at the same time, I have every right to question it. People didn't bother wanting to talk about it, but the real question is, why talk about it now? It almost makes it a bit suspicious. That is exactly what it is in some cases, that I've at least looked into. When it comes to Ubisoft and Xbox. Now, for Xbox's case, they didn't bother adding that rainbow profile pic thing on their Twitter until a little later on in June. At some point they finally did, which who could have saw that coming. And in the Halo Reddit, they made some kind of discussions post, and of course with the rainbow stuff along with that profile picture.
Happy Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. I just wanted to let all the real men in this community know that they are loved and appreciated. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Which sounds wholesome and sweet in a way, at first, until they made a pin saying this.
Degrading is against side-wide Reddit rules. Users with no or minimal previous history on the subreddit may be banned and have their comments removed for this rule.
Wow, talk about turncoating so goddamn quick. Define degrading. How are men degrading over discussing what the hell they've been through in their lives? The first minute, they lend them an ear, and then the next minute, they don't want to hear anything about you. That is insane. Halo is banning users for saying Happy Men's Awareness Month. Imagine celebrating Men's Mental Health Month, and they want to shut that down.
Hello, you have been permanently banned from participating in r/Halo because your comment violates this community's rules. You won't be able to post or comment, but you can still view and subscribe to it. If you have questions regarding your ban, you can contact the moderator team by replying to this message. Reminder from the Reddit admin team: if you use another account to circumvent this community ban, that will be considered a violation of the Reddit rules and may result in your account being banned from the platform as a whole.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell the dude said about Men's Mental Health Month. Probably to vent his frustrations. I don't know. The fact that he got banned just for simply supporting that topic at hand is absolutely unhinged. And it is ironic, in a way, that they say that they support Men's Mental Health Month, but yet they silence the men that want to talk about it. Again, that just really just shows how much they are faking it to make it. They're only doing this to try to get something out of your wallet. That's literally all there is to it. Just like with pride. They don't care. They only want what's in your wallet. They only want what's in your piggy bank, your shoe, your chain, anything that they could get their grubby hands on. Because I just don't believe anything coming from some million or billion-dollar corporations. And I really don't know what they're thinking by doing this, thinking that that's gonna make them change. Like, no, all you're doing is making them dig deep into another rabbit hole of some other website where they can truly speak out about their frustrations. And Ubisoft, on the other hand, is also kind of hard to believe. Hear me out here. This month, they made a tweet saying,
"It's okay to take off the mask. Strength and vulnerability are not mutually exclusive. June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. We'd like to encourage you to reach out to your friends, ask them how they're doing, pick up a game together, look out for one another. You matter."
Again, you know, that looks good on paper. That seems like a W in a way. But when you look back into their past with June, they don't even bother talking about that or bringing it up. Matter of fact, when people do tend to refer to it, specifically when it was last year, the replies were hidden, which really makes me question, do you really care? Or are you only saying that to try to get money off of me? Again, I just don't get the fact with why the sudden change. These corporations or people that are only faking it to make it 100% for sure, all of a sudden give a shit. Now, I'm not saying that everyone that claims to support men's mental health is a faker. You know, I don't want to believe that. That's not true. There are definitely people out there that genuinely care. In the case, there are some VTubers that, by the way of looks, seem to actually give a shit. But, you know, I can see some people's suspicions of why that's probably not the case, because there have been VTubers out there that have been exposed for lying and being manipulative and all that horrible stuff. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that every other VTuber is like that, you know? All in all, if you genuinely support and actually give a damn about men's mental health, then I honestly appreciate you. But at the same time, you gotta understand that I gotta keep it very cautious, as all live in hell these days. Because it's easy for people to write on paper about what went down, but not what actually went down behind the paper, if you know exactly what I'm saying. You know, it's very easy for somebody to say what you think you want to hear, but in reality, they're just lying to your face. And that's exactly why I have to be very cautious and suspicious about things like this. This ain't my first rodeo hearing a bunch of lies to my face before. You gotta understand for that part. I'm not trying to diss you from supporting it or anything. I'm just on to a point where I was like, are you sure you're really supporting it, or are you only supporting it because of clout or attention, if you will? Like, you gotta at least understand that for a fact with my suspicions. These days, it's already rough enough as is. Not every man is gonna be so lucky when it comes to connections and shit. I mean, sure, we have online friends as well, but online friends aren't necessarily real friends. And my mother told me that the only way that that kind of thing could be possible is if you meet them in real life. That is the issue. How is that going to work? How is that gonna go as planned? Because, and plane tickets are definitely expensive as hell. And again, the fact of how is that gonna work? Like, that shit really does need to be planned if we're really gonna go there. When it comes to the supposed online friends, the majority of them don't even want to put in that kind of effort, which I get it, but that does tend to prove the point. Or unless due to some unfortunate circumstances where the possibilities of that can never happen, because again, with those said circumstances, I can totally understand why as well. It probably won't happen because of those two reasons. But if I were to unironically go through with this, I gotta make sure that they're not like EDP445 or Bill Cosby levels right there. I need to make sure to actually know them, just to make sure that they aren't like actual crazy asses behind the scenes. And honestly, dude, I prefer my solitude more than anything now. To me, it's much better that way. I can actually be myself with no issues. I can have a bit of peace in mind. It's stress-free. Nobody tries to spread my ass and try to ruin my fun. I don't really necessarily have to worry about those stalking obsessed weirdos or the backstabber or whoever, because I'm just focusing what I like to do, like my hobbies, my passion. I'm just focusing on that shit right now. That's all I'm doing. I ain't bothering nobody. I really don't see a need to talk to anybody at all, unless if I am doing my job and I have no choice, even though I really don't want to, then I guess I have to, but don't expect me to be vulnerable or make the job personal, or even befriend anybody in the process, because I'm telling you right now for a fact, that is never, ever, ever going to happen ever again. I've learned my mistake once, and I'm gonna make sure that same mistake doesn't happen twice. It is never gonna happen no matter how many years it is. You are not gonna make me. To me personally, when it comes to the job, I prefer to keep it strict and professional and on to the point, not to yap, as they say, and talk about personal shit or interests, which is definitely mistake number one when it comes to working, is that you don't talk about your personal interests or hobbies or whatever in work, because the weirdos, your coworkers in general, are gonna use that as a way to mock you, to insult you, to belittle you, to ridicule you over because of what you're into. Especially if you wore like some random accessory at one time at your job, which was something that actually did happen to me at one point. I remember wearing a necklace that's basically like a cross, because the reason why I wore it was because I wanted to actually wear it. Like, is that really too much to ask, is to wear a necklace? Is it really too much to ask these days? It just looked cool and I felt like wearing it that day, and apparently some 40-year-old Karen had some weirdo problem about it, and I heard it very clearly with what she's saying behind my back, saying that I'm not like a Christian or something, which she is in fact correct. I'm not, and I never even confirmed to. I never even bragged about it nor flexed about it, or even lied, because I don't fake my shit. So just because I'm not a supposed Christian, so that means I have to take it off? It's my necklace. If I feel like wearing it, I'll wear it. I don't see the big deal here. I really don't see the problem. It's not like I've been bragging about my necklace. Not ever, even once have I ever considered doing that. I was there to strictly do my job. These 30 to 40-year-old weirdos really can't learn how to mind their own fucking business. And these same people wonder why I want nothing to do with any of them, by the way. Just unfriggin' believable. Yeah, I'm just honestly better off alone. And I genuinely mean it. Like, I understand that that kind of thing is not going to be for everybody, but I've been born alone. And technically, solitude seems to be the only thing that truly fits me. Anyways, I think that's gonna do it for this video. I don't really got much else to say. Just wanted to out Xbox and Ubisoft mainly for not really being all that genuine when it comes down to it. And it just doesn't seem believable to me, at least. I have every right to be skeptical when it comes down to it. And, I'll see you guys next time.